Sure. So maybe I just show maybe 2 or 3 people I don't know in the call. So I was one of the founding member of this Geo-AI, I think back to 1918, 1919. I'm Modou, working here in Senegal, having some common project with some university here. My work is more focused on drone and satellite imagery and then how to combine them. Today I'm working for a different platform using computer vision, but today I will just focus on the Earth observation and computer vision and then some work we are doing locally here in Senegal for leveraging also Google Earth Engine. So you have my email address and anything. I would be more happy than to just keep going and presenting things on Google Earth Engine and computer vision. So next slide. Okay, so as I told you, I will just focus on drone and satellite. And we working on different projects, but this time we will talk about forest and crop mapping. Forest because I'm monitoring the forest area in Senegal, and then I combine satellite and drone. To do that, we talk about pro and contra by satellite and by drone, and then some limitation we have using the satellite data. And I think it's the same limitation for over Africa and in all the different countries. And then the third point, we talk about the deep learning. Mostly of the time, I'm using object detection and instant segmentations, like transfer learning problems, and then also UNet because most of the time you need to do some regression type analysis, not some just segmenting images like detecting single object on the image. So that's why I'm using. So also UNet, one of the first model framework I learned so far, 4 years now. Next. Okay, so why drone and why satellite? Satellite because of course you all know we have like global coverage, so nice, and then drone we have high resolution data, but it's not consistent over time, and then difficult for some country in some reason to have something consistent. And then even you do radiometric calibration, it's super difficult. And then we have experiences because we have a lot of plot and then have a lot of drone images and then like calculate NDVI from those plots from different crops and then try to figure out to see how different those NDVI is from like Sentinel-2 data. And then you have almost like for same wavelength, you can have like 50% difference for the same crop, same data acquisitions. And then we did some modeling also, try to figure out how we can estimate biomass or sorghum yield for 3 different experiments in Senegal and Mali. Same thing, model can be good in Senegal, no way to do inference in Mali because the model is missing some more important parameter like soil, weather conditions, kind of things. But however, drone give you like nice data. And then sometimes for forestry, it's easy to use and then to have like some good result using the drone. But of course, the data also is so difficult to manage. That's why most of the drone work I'm doing, I upload everything on Google Earth Engine and then keep doing my processing techniques. So that's the pro and con for drone and then and satellite. And then most of the work I'm doing here is just optical data. Both drone and satellite, they are just sensor data. So the Sentinel-1, the radar one I'm using for the type of work like soil moisture analysis and then those height estimation, landslide. But for here, I will just stick for optical sensors, which is drone and satellite information. That basically is the same thing, just optical images, and then we can apply any model on those images. Okay, next slide. I think I'm not fast. If I'm fast, please just let me know. Sometimes it's crazy. I used to have like more interactive communications, but for what I learned so far also is that most of the time in Senegal, we don't have good data to do deep learning. And then in some project like we have a urban forest, we call it forêt d'Mbaye in French. And then most of the work, we don't have like any in situ data to do deep learning or to do how to see change, those kind of things at high resolution. This is not forest, it's something very small inside Senegal, but have a lot of trees. So that's why for those type of problem, I use Google Earth Pro, because Google Earth Pro give you nice data. You even have time series, but it's not consistent time series, but at least you can have like 4 or 5 images for 10 years or 20 years different, and then you can apply something to see standards. You can apply deep learning. I have so many videos showing how change happening in Dakar for deforestation, and then those jobs are all based on Google Earth Pro. We also use like optical sensor, high resolution commercial data for some type of work, but like you have some limitation. We don't have enough money to buy commercial data like Planiscope, Airbus. So we use Sentinel-2, and then like last 5-6 months, we have these high resolution images. You can generate high resolution image, 2 meter high resolution image from Sentinel-2. So I'm using sometimes this model, but as it's not free, and then you don't know how to replicate these things to generate high resolution 2 meter resolution data from Sentinel-2. That's why I'm not using it anymore. And then I'm working on building our own high resolution images based on real data we have, but discovered in Senegal. And then the drone, as I told you, this one I use mostly for forestry, and then for seed companies where we try to make inference about yield and then do some breeding. I'm working for a breeding program also, where we use like mostly drone for screening germoplasm. And then in type of modeling, like transfer computer vision, really computer vision thing, I have some experience with segmentation model that recently last year did nice job, but most of the time I'm using also for do annotations. And then I will talk about later how we can leverage Google Earth Engine for annotation. And then yellow is my favorite because it's like so easy to implement fast. Even if they say that this real-time detection transformer model is faster than YOLO, what I'm experimenting is not true at all. YOLO is 10 times faster than this one. And then YOLO V10 is like so nice. That's why I'm using YOLO, but sometimes I have to shift for different transfer model, computer vision foundation model to see how can I make like my life easier and then faster to go for anything related to computer vision. And one of the big projects I'm working on is single tree detection over Senegal, where we have over, right now, I think I have like more than 1 million annotated trees, and then the species also, the species of the trees, working with the forestry company. Those things I'm just using YOLO to do things, and sometimes the real-time object detection and transformer. So that's all I'm using. And then UNet, because of course, like for some regression type analysis, you need UNet to do that. And then one of my job also is teaching and then showing people how to do UNet like so easily, and then people can apply for different type of job or work. So that's all that I'm using for deep learning, and then the data set I'm using, and then you can go to the next slide. So the single tree object detection and instant segmentation, I started with mask RCNN at the time, but it was like super difficult to implement on satellite data, and then was not instable, and then take time to apply. The time that people use mask RCNN, fast RCNN, but all that the same people making this same model, or same anything, same group. So I learned how to do those steps, and then when YOLO came out, so I just stick with YOLO. But the thing is that the job is just doing inventory. Before I'm working for Senegalese Agricultural Research Institution, people are doing forest inventory by hand. Just going in the forest and then making annotations. This is street A, and then take the coordinate of the street, and then the species and some dynamic measurement like height and crown projection area, and then over and over and over, and then have build a large database. And then, so my job is just how I can take this database and automate its task. And then, so I use advanced analytical techniques like deep learning, and then it's more efficient than compared to the manual annotations, and then inventory, classical annotation. It's cost effective, and then you have like lower operation cost. We hire over like 25 people over a year doing this job. And then it's not accurate at all. Every time you do go to on the site, and then check things, you see that some bias, some error. So that's why we use computer vision to do single true detections, and then from the single true detection we calculate all the metrics, and then estimate height using Sentinel-1, and then having LiDAR data, also build our own model combined with Sentinel-2 to have like global coverage of height. Okay, to do global height. So I will talk about more in the result sections. Next slide. So far, so good. So quiet. So quiet. Okay, so in my group that we are working with David called, I don't know, is he from where, but from US anywhere. And then Musa is one of my supervisors where I'm working, and Shahbao is working for CC. Now he's the director of CC. And then, so this work, they did it previously, like I think some time ago, where they do some manual annotations and then do some classification using ArcGIS thing. And then from there, calculate like crown area of single trees, and then calculate the above ground biomass. And from the above ground biomass, you can go up to calculate the carbon sequestrations. But it is just for tree out of forest. We have a lot of trees out of forest. We don't have like really forest in Senegal, that's compared to like Gabon or Kenya, those countries. And then, so my work was take these things and then do all the steps in Google Earth Engine, and then apply deep learning on this like previous work, and then compare how fast I am and how accurate we are, and then easy and then scalable this Google Earth Engine can do. At the time, they don't use Google Earth Engine. They don't know anyone was able to do Google Earth Engine. So we start with SERVIR West Africa, learning Google Earth Engine and apply, and then teaching, and then people are now doing it. That's one nice thing we achieved so far. And then next slide. Oh, UFA. Okay, so the first thing is, okay. Oh, maybe it's not clear, but anyway. So so to do that, we start with high resolution drone images. We cover like large area. We have different, I don't know even we can put a plot, but it's like 5,000 hectares. So big in the forest, in the Senegalese forest, like from the east to the north in the Ferro Valley, where we have those ponds. And then like for 2 years now, I use my drone and then high resolution satellite data, and then to build this pipeline. But I'm combining Google Earth Engine to do all the treatment, and then using computer vision, I will talk about later how to do the SAM model or the YOLO model or the real-time detection transformer model. But I will present those two results, and then what is better and then what is not, the drawbacks, and then things. Next slide, because this one is not clear. Next slide. Oh, so when I start, so we just test, can we just fly the drone and then build a model, and then we can capture single trees. We did that, was very good, and then we tried to figure out, because the drone, the thing is with the drone is the battery, like 5,000 hectares is a lot. You spend also time in different villages, in your flight, you don't have like current, you don't have electricity, that is difficult. So I said, okay, now let's just take the drone, and then you have to fly it over 100 meters, and then build another model and see the difference, because that make like things easier and faster. So this thing, this image, it was about 50 meters, and then we did 100 meter and then 200 meter, even though you're not allowed to fly a drone above 120 meter. But for the research, we have to do that to check what is possible. And the same images also, the same drone images is low to Google Earth Engine for the processing techniques. So this is just apply YOLO. We apply YOLO V7, V4, and then V8, version 8 to see which one is faster. At the time, YOLO V8 is faster. And then we just use, because YOLO can give you many ways of doing, you can do object detection and instant segmentation. So we did both. And then enhanced labelization. And then for each tree, we have some species, another tree we don't have, because our goal is using computer vision to detect single trees and to know the type of trees we have. So that was the first year. And then next slide. And then also another that we fly above like more than 100 meters, pretty accurate. Wet season, that was the wet season part, and then during the rainy dry season we have to do the same work. And then when we go to the dry season and then fly our drone and then make inference with our YOLO model, so that thing was not working very well. Next slide. And then we saw that thing was not working because, so you have to know that in that area we have like different ponds. You have trees like forests, like canic forest, and then people are using the forest like woody biomass and then making money, and then like they have like some economical value on that forest. But if you try to do inventory, like build a model during the wet season and then try to do inference, was not working. Like we have like very significant inaccuracy when we apply dry season deep learning model on the wet season, because you can see in the image that we have something completely different. And then we found that also during the dry season, we have a lot of, I don't know if we call it like die trees. Then people cut the trees. I have like used deforestations because we don't have like enough water, we don't have like enough biomass, and then pastoralism they are using to cut the trees. And then so we have to now see why this thing is different. Obviously you can see we have like many spectral difference in the two different seasons. That's why we cannot apply like any computer vision. So you have to build our own computer vision. And then because before I tried another computer vision that was built on drone, and then the guy make a presentation, I just try to do that one, but it was not working very well in that environment. So that's why we use transfer learning and then do YOLO to do this type of real-time detection of the single trees and then compare it. Okay, next slide. So we were trying to figure out why this thing is different, and then can we correct it just using our wet season computer vision model, because it takes time to build the model, it takes time to make all the labelization. Labelization takes a lot of time for the computer vision. And then we can see like we have like very different spectral response, and then even soil is different. The background is different, and then the trees also are different. So that's why our approach is to build one model. We build another model, and then now we are saying, okay, we don't need to do that. We have to pull all the data together and then build just one model that can do inference both for dry season and wet season, and we can see the difference in terms of woody biomass and then fresh biomass. So next slide. That's the principal component analysis, seeing what's going on in terms of like spectral differences and then some indices. So that was the dry season. Same thing for wet season. We did the same thing and then see the differences. And then now we have two models, but next step is just to build one model that can do better for any season, and then we can compare things are changing between 2, 3, 4 seasons, and then people can know where to plant trees, how to talk with populations around those areas, because areas are so big and people are putting their animals here to eat, and that's normal. So I think that's the part of anything I'm doing with forestry, or I don't know. Next slide. Next slide. Okay. And then, so while working with drone images, the thing is what happens is this classification cannot be accurate at all most of the time. And then most of the problem also we have like most of the time we have two class problem. Mostly if I'm using drone, it's just we have soil and we have vegetations. And then why you don't just try to figure out a simple way of doing like segmentation? And then Google Earth Engine, you have a lot of important functions people developed, so you can just kind of use them to build something easy, so scalable at like large scale. And then what we found out that if you use hue index and then you combine with like in the VI, just 1 to 2 indexes, you can see just hue index and then I calculate hue index and then all the like 20 other spectral indices and see which one is better to do segmentation, like just based on the reflectance. And then you can see like for two type classification problem, you can see like vegetation and bare soil is like easy. You can segment those things. Just 0 is a nice value to segment those the two classes. And then, so what I did so far, I rebuilt all the package. I mean, people are using field image. People are using field image R in R to do image processing. That takes time and then difficult to do the processing. R is not suitable for making drone images analysis. Python is good, but Python doesn't have all the environment, of course, or people don't know Python enough. Like in Senegal, people mostly use R. Also, okay, let's just rebuild all the field image R packages and then put it in Google Earth Engine and then teach people how to use it for better. And then we found out that hue index is far better, and then you don't need to pre-installation, you don't need anything, you can just scan it depending on the situation. And then this information we upload it in the image in the satellite images later to do some nice thing on the without deep learning and the single true detections. Next slide. So like we take the same the paper I show you, Jan. We take the same plot and then use satellite imaging technology, and then we use drone and then compare what's happening. And then what we found that if you use satellite imaging, even for land use, land cover, you can see that you are missing a lot of information. Basically, if you use Sentinel-2 or Landsat sometime, and then you like to work at forest level, like at tree level, you can have like very good result if you have like, that's normal, if you have like very like high dense forest, like in his thesis. But if you use drone, you can have single, like all small trees, you can count them. And then you have a lot of people that know that area in Ferlo, you have a lot of like small trees, and then satellite cannot catch them. That's why we try to use the high resolution Sentinel-2 deep learning model to downscale the Sentinel-2 and apply computer vision on it. Or we upload everything in Google Earth Engine and then use spectral indices to do single true detections. Syscode also everything is available on my GitHub. You will see on the next last pages. So if you do that, so you can be able to do single true detection like those small trees. If you can see here, CPA is crown projected area, and then if you are using drone, you can go less than 5 meters square. But if you don't use drone, you cannot catch them. And then we have a lot of them, and then that's introduced miss forest management because you don't count like small trees. Oh, next slide. And then for the same area, so we use this Google Earth Engine to do that, and then we use Google Earth Engine to do a labelization. But I will show you more on the crop mapping. And then we try to see, because YOLO also, if you use, because YOLO have different model, but if you use YOLO V8 large, take time, like 4 days, 6 days to train all the model. And then, so I read a paper saying, if you use real-time detection transformer is faster than YOLO, it's pretty similar. So do the same thing, and then train and figure out which one is better. In terms of like, which one is fast. And then I found that YOLO was like faster than the RTDAT, and then, but the result was pretty good for especially small object, like you said in the paper, small object. If you use this one, you can very catch all the trees compared to YOLO, where you need like large model to catch even single trees. And then also the code is available on my GitHub, and then we make segmentation of like we cut the area 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer, and then build a model, and then mosaic everything to know like large scale forest inventory without the species. The next step is to build like species. It's so difficult because even like people like they know the species, sometimes they are not agree which one is which one. So that's not my job. So that's why it's taking time to finalize this project about species detection, recognition. Okay, next slide. Another thing we are doing, because ISRA, where I'm working, is there's 14 different centers. And then some of centers, they are working mostly on urbanizations. And then they did some survey where they would like to segment. Where I have like plot, like house, you just like put something, I don't know how they call it in English, but you don't build house. You just take it, but you don't build anything. And then they would like to know, like more, how many of those we have, and how many of house we have, and how many of trees we have, like all more, like large area. And then people can, I don't know what they are doing, but they need this information. And then we need for drone also, same thing. And then using computer vision, we can do like this one, and then extract single plot, and then give them, so they go to the database, do some merging, and they know which plot belong to which, and then those kind of stuff. That like more complicated side. But we do this also. I don't know if it's testing this. That's what I have for like urbanization, and the social science people that are using drone for segmenting single house. I don't know how they call it, houses, and then line without house. I don't know how they call it. Next slide. And then many students were trying to do UNet. UNet is what the first thing I learned to do was California, University of San Francisco. Thank you, Tim, and then Biblov, and then I think Kabi, you were there, David Saha, I remember, and then this guy again, Kel. And then I was like, okay, I have to figure out how I can show people how you can use Google Engine to do labeling, to label your images, and then build your UNet out of Google Engine, of course, and then make your prediction to just like one simple way of doing that. So UNet is one of the things that people use most of the time. That's why I use UNet, but you can build it from scratch, any model, and then, so the Google Earth Engine platform, I use it to do labelization, because Google deploying, you all know, need like data. That like annotation for YOLO take time, annotation for segment anything to fine tune to transfer learning, to make transfer learning take time also. And then Google Engine has some nice function you can use for simple problem to do the labelization automatically, and then use that one to build your deep learning model. Next slide. So in order to do that, so this one, the figure you see here is nothing, we don't have anything related to deep learning. It's just the US spectral indices I took. And then from that one, I make my segmentations, like I have my binary files, raster file with the 0 I show you, that can differentiate things, but they cannot differentiate water. But we have another way to pull out water, because you can mask water with just NDVI. Negative NDVI is water. Not all water, but most of the water is negative NDVI. And then, so if you take your raster, and then like Sentinel-2 data, this one is Sentinel-2 data. You take your raster, Sentinel-2, you apply U indices, and then you make your threshold, and then you have the binary file, binary raster, and then you reduce to vector function in Google's engine, you have these things. And then, so that's allow you to have like single detection of plot. Well, this is north of Senegal. It's nice, well managed. South of Senegal also is nice, well managed. Center of Senegal, where you have the peanut basin, is so difficult to do. But you have to work like hard to see how to do like spectral segmentations. But most of the time is soil and then vegetation problem. So if you do that, so I don't make the slides here, but I don't know why. But you have like each color is a plot. And then if you do reduce to vector, you have the vector file. And then this vector file, you can export it, is your annotations. And then this annotation, you can just build any next slide. You just use your annotation. You can do like any large area as you wish, because I did it for all Saint Louis regions, but you need to mask water with negative NDVI. The thing is, if you have like vegetation and water together, I don't know, floated vegetation, sometimes it's like tricky. You need to make like processing the vector file to remove something, and then you have like your data to build your unit things. And then, so, but you have to figure out like which one is, how I can build it in like very fast and easy way. So this project, I took like many indices and then build deep learning model, and for 3 band, for all the band, and then for 3 band, and then for 4 band. Because why I'm using 4 band? Because the new drones we have now, we use almost four bands. Like you have the red edge, we have the red edge, the green and the new infrared. So I just use those 4 band to build another unit. And why unit? Because most of our problem also we have is not just segmenting, but it's also like inference about biomass, about yield, and then we need to make like regression problem, not like segmentation problem. But this here is just unit for segmentation problem. But I have also another notebook that explains how you can do unit for using Google's engine, and then Sentinel-2 data, and then make unit and then labeling things. So next slide. So you see that the training image is just from Sentinel-2, and then the labeling image also is from, both are from Google engine. And then I build in the right way. You can see that the unit things easy to build, but it's just simple unit things. And then I share everything in that link, the unit link to my GitHub, where you can download things, modify, and make it better. And I have also other notebooks where I use this pure image processing techniques. You using OpenCV to do the same type of work. Using Python also, but it's just color-based classifications, where you can like be able to detect single plot. And then from the single plot, you can turn it to a shapefile, and that shapefile, you can use it for segment anything, or you can use it for any computer vision model. But you have to find a way for like YOLO, how you can change it to YOLO version, like Coco version things. Or some, you need Coco, but you don't need like mask action, and you can do just like black and white. But for different things, they have different formats for making models. I think it's all I have. Next slide. Done. Yes.
Nice.
I think that's okay. Thank you.
Awesome. Let me hop over to the main screen now. Okay. Dismiss. I'll leave the slides up so we can talk about them, if I can. Let's go to the questions here. I'm going to try and do both.
I hope they have.
Neil, do you have a question?
I was not able to see.
Yeah, just the same question I guess I had in the chat. Just kind of curious as to how much of the workflows that you're presenting, Modou, how much are I guess leveraging GCP with Earth Engine, and how much you're doing say offline. Just curious.
How much? Okay,
Yeah.
Let me take your question. Don't lie.
Yeah, were you able to hear my question, Modou?
No, come again, please.
Yeah. Well, first off, thank you for the presentation. It was very enlightening. I'm just curious how much of the workflows you're implementing are using Google Earth Engine, and how much are other things, solutions you're doing offline.
Okay. For Google Earth Engine, I have two types of problem. I'm using it to do my labeling automatically, so I don't use like any other platform to do it. So it's a binary raster file, and then making a vector can give me labels, high accurate labels that I use to build my deep learning model for another platform. Google Colab. That one thing. But for the forest mapping, I'm using all from start to end. I'm using everything in Google Earth Engine. Same thing. I put all the images there. It's 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer drone images. And then I calculate my U index, and then I do my spectral binary classification. And then from there, I make my vector file to have like single trees. And from the vector files I have, I reproject it to UTM to have like meter accuracy. And then I calculate my metrics to calculate the above ground biomass, and then go to make allometric equations to calculate the carbon sequestrations. All from start to end to Google Earth Engine. But for the deep learning, JavaScript don't give you access to make Google Earth Engine in deep learning in Google Earth in JavaScript API. Is that what you meant?
Yeah. Thank you so much. I was just kind of interested, and then just lastly to say, it's really, really cool to see, I guess, how much, you've done in the last 5 years since we were all at the TensorFlow exchange, and, all that you've done, in this 5 years. Your presentation was a really nice showcase of, all of these different things which are possible. Thank you so much. And I think Kabir had a question as well.
Thank you, Emil.
Oh, no. Emil, I was clapping, but by mistake, I raised the hand. It was a wonderful presentation, Modou.
Thank you, Kabir.
Yeah, I was just going to hop in and say, Modou, I mean, I know this is only scratching the surface of all the stuff that you're doing, so it's awesome. I can't see the chat, so if anyone else has raised their hand, just hop in right now. But I do have a bunch of questions in case there's anyone else. I'll pause. Okay, yeah, Modou, you mentioned that I think it was Ben Weinstein, the Deep Forest, Deep Forest. I'm pretty sure that's one of the talks we had a while back. And you had mentioned that I had assumed it was that model that you had attempted, and then it didn't seem to work, and you switched over to this YOLO approach for the labeling and sort of building out this production. Do you have a sense as to why that modeling framework didn't work? And that's the assumption that that's the one you had investigated.
Which model?
The Deep Forest model.
Oh yeah, Deep Forest. First of all, the Deep Forest model is just like single photos inference, and then we need the whole plot inference. So if you do single photo inference, you will not be able, because of the drone, you have some overlapping photo by photos.
Okay, that makes sense.
That the first thing, the first drawback was the Deep Forest. And then the second drawback of the Deep Forest is if you use Deep Forest and then for like dry season, you're not catching any trees, because dry season you don't have any, almost you don't have like green, you have like black trees. So that's why Deep Forest was not working at all. So, but we take advantage of Deep Forest, everything we did so far. So we just take the paper and then the things, we say, okay, let's do it different ways. So we start with Deep Forest. I forgot the name. Sure. Thank you.
That's great. Yeah. Those folks out at Florida State, they're great. But I feel as though we need to, I'll send them this presentation afterward, be like, hey, look at all that's going on with Senegal too, because that's really great. A couple of the things that just popped to the top of my head, and others, if I'll just hop over to the other screen in case there's hands up. I don't want to steal the whole conversation, but there is a data set that you may be aware of, Modou, that is from NASA Goddard. It's like a 9 billion tree classification, and I can share it afterwards. It's available as an open data set. And they published a paper in Nature in the summer of 2023, and it's by Compton Tucker, which is I think could be a very useful data set for what you're doing, because it's for all of the Sahel region, including all of Senegal. And it has these carbon estimations. So I think a cool comparison could be done. The reason why I was looking into it is for a Wendu activity, and I have a couple more questions on that, but I'll share that. I don't know if you've explored that at all.
Oh, I heard the paper, and then recently those people was in Senegal, and then we did some field validation together.
Wow.
2 weeks were like pretty intense field validation work. I will not do that again.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, but I don't have the data.
I'll share it right after this. I had been
Yeah.
talking with Sam about trying to get that data into Google Earth Engine, actually.
Will be nice.
Yeah. And the second question I had, and I'll let other people talk after this, but so what is the performance of like single tree detection in water bodies? And I'm thinking of the furlough region where there is vegetation in some of the ponds, the natural ponds. Are you seeing similar like quality performance?
So we mask everything that's water.
Okay.
But where we are working is like protected forests. We have like 2 of those things. We have water and trees. So difficult to see to segment. But if we have the new drone we have, because the first drone we are using to do the job, we just use like we use like 3-band RGB drone. It was not able to remove water on that RGB image. But the new one we are using, we are able to just mask water and then do the segmentation. But it's just for two big, we call it UPS, interpastoral, that big areas protected where we are developing, where we are doing our monitoring. But of course, so now I know like furlough because I almost live there. Every 2-3 months I'm there to do drone fly. Like during the rainy season, they have like some ponds in the like main road. You cannot even see the trees. The trees are almost like you cannot see it. Almost emerge. I don't know that you call it emerge, but we are not working in that regions, in the pond areas. Like we are working in the protected area.
Okay, yeah, thank you so much. And for these final products that you're creating, working for these forest inventories and producing these estimates, are these publicly available? Can people use them for like other downstream things, or is it primarily for the government?
No, we can share it because it's from the government. It's public. It's public institution. Anyone that asks, we can just share it. So I just need a letter and then share the data.
Very interesting. And one final thing, I know I said I only had one, but then I gave you like 40. But what about incorporating something like Jedi or ISAT for a height metric as part of your classification schema?
That's a good point. So but the boss of this project would like to use LiDAR. I talk about Jedi, but I still don't use the Jedi data. But maybe you can try. I don't know, but it always take time to me to start working on Jedi data. I don't know why. It's like I'm afraid of using Jedi. It's not that I'm afraid, just because I have so many things to do. I say, okay, I will use Jedi, but still I'm not using it. But the thing is, when I use the drone drone, you can have like a LiDAR point. Like, it's not a LiDAR, but you can have like 3D cloud point where you can have height and then put it into a model. But the thing is that in the federal region where we're working is pretty flat. So you can see, maybe you can just make a 3D segmentation of the area, but we don't have the computer resources to do cloud segmentation. That you can do like small batch of segmentation, like cloud segmentation, but I don't have like good resources to do that. I don't have like good computer or like, so I have like pretty good computer, but 64 gig of computer cannot do this segmentation, 3D segmentation of cloud points. Pretty heavy, yeah.
But thank you so much. Yeah, let me hop back out of the screen and see if there's other hands up. So I can stop sharing. Any other folks?
Yeah, I guess I realize we're out of time, but I was just kind of curious in terms of the use of, the stuff in Colab and pulling GCP and Earth Engine. If Modou has any idea of how much compute he's leveraged for these different tasks, but I guess we don't have to discuss that here. Maybe I could take this offline. But again, just really, really great presentation. Really great to see, all that you've, applied this stuff to in the last 5 years. Modou, thank you so much.
Thank you, Amy. We can talk about these things.
Nice. Yeah. And Modou, I will send you a script with that data, or I'll send you an email with the data that I found for that Jim Tucker paper, because I've just been kind of looking into it. And then I'll, on the Jedi point, I've been kind of exploring it. So maybe we can tag up, or I'll just send you some scripts, but I'm seeing some interesting results. And on that note, I just want to say again, stellar presentation. Always love having you. I feel like we got to get one every year, right? We just have to. So we'll right. And so we can also talk offline from if you've got something else you want to, showcase in heck, our schedule's all the way out until like this time next year anyway. So, but thanks again, Modou, and thanks everybody. We'll talk in 2 weeks. And for those who are going to Geo for good, safe travels. Let us know how it goes, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks, everybody.
Sure.